Perfect. We're all set. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's Feminine Finance Money Chat. And I am so excited to be talking with you this week. Thank you so much for bearing with me as I am out of the country right now, out of the US and on vacation. And so I am doing this delicious money chat from a Starbucks because they have really dependable Wi-Fi when you are on a big resort Wi-Fi, and it doesn't always work out. But I think that this is like a perfect example of like the fact that like no matter our situation, we get to show up in our business, we get to show up for our money, right? This all comes back to the feminine finance principles and method, right, of adaptability. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Eleanor Prisco, and I work as a money and mindset coach, and I am the founder of Feminine Finance and the Feminine Finance Method. So if you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, you should definitely go and check out some of my other videos talking about like how do we approach our finances sustainably? How do we approach them with consistency and flexibility, right? Being adaptable. How do we create more ease and pleasure in our money management and our mindset and create that devotional practice with our money and that intimacy with our money. So I'm so excited for those of you who are able to join me right now. Go ahead and drop a comment. I definitely read all the comments. I check them all out, and I'd love to hear from all of you. So let's just jump right into it of the topic I'd love to talk about this week. So what I really want to talk about this week is flirting with luxury, right? I think that luxury is one of those things that we kind of always put outside of ourselves, and it's something we're not allowed to experience now. It's something that we're allowed to experience later, right? Like we can't have the things that we deeply desire, the things that we really want until later. And in the feminine finance method, I really work to challenge that in people, right? When it comes to the feminine finance principles and method, it is all about how can you flirt with luxury now? How can you create that devotional practice with your money? How can you become a more empowered money manager and create that intimacy with your money? So let's go through the lens of luxury, right? Because I think that many of us, and let me know if you feel this way, right, in your own money journey, have kind of put, a luxury as something that we can have later on, but it's not something we can have now. And so if that's so, let me know what is the big luxury that's always outside, right, that you can have later. For some people, this can look like the vacation. This can look like the, buying of a house. This can look like, or an apartment. This can look like paying off debt. This can look like buying jewelry, right? This can look like buying the designer handbags. These are all things that we get to have as luxuries, right? And I'm talking about those are like more material luxuries or experience luxuries. There's also the luxury of time, right? Like being able to decide what you want to do, not needing to ask for time off, being able to take time off and still get paid, right? These are other types of luxury, and that can show up in different ways. And so what I really would invite you to do if you're wanting to explore this part of your money relationship and better understand how you define luxury and like what is luxurious to you, a really fun exercise is to write out what are 100 things that would be different in your life if you had the money you wanted, right? So a lot of times the first probably 10 to 20 are going to be pretty similar for most people, right? It's going to be paying off different debts. It's maybe going to be owning a house. It's maybe going to be buying a car or a new car. It's going to be doing some kind of travel most of the time, maybe having a wedding, right? But like those first kind of 10, maybe 20 tend to be pretty similar for most people, right? It's about like a general better quality of life. But then once you start getting past that first maybe 20, what you're going to discover, right, is like actually that you have some things that are achievable right now for you, right? And because you're pushing yourself to think of 100 things that would be different, they could be things that are as small as having more than one pair of eyeglasses, right? going to get your nails done weekly or every 2 weeks or something like that, right? Going to the chiropractor or getting a massage monthly, right? And so what happens is or like even it's massages weekly, right? I think this is a perfect example. Maybe you want to have massages weekly, and that's something that's like a huge luxury and it's not something you could do. And so instead of even finding a way to potentially have that experience within your life now and start to live the luxurious life that you want and start to become more aligned with the lifestyle that you want, then you you say it's just not available to you now, right? You're like, oh no, I'm not able to have that now at all, right? And so instead of thinking like, oh, well, could I get monthly massages? Could I get quarterly massages or every other month, right? Is that actually more within my financial plan right now? And does that feel good to do so, right? And this is the same for like really other like simple things in our life, right? And I did this exercise early on, and there was a lot of really small things that I decided to start changing in my life. Like down to, for instance, the nail polish that I was buying or the lipsticks that I was buying, right? It was like there were certain brands or certain ways that I wanted these things to feel, right? Like for me, it was like OPI, right? It was like, oh, I think like OPI is like definitely a luxury nail polish brand. And that's like what I would want all of my nail polishes to be if I'm ever doing my nails at home. And I used to think like, oh, well, like I'm not going to get a bunch of these things and I'm not going to, you know, buy all these OPI nail polishes because they're so expensive. But after I did this list and after I said like, well, this must be accessible to me, there must be some way for this to come into my life. Then I was like at TJ Maxx or Marshalls or something like that, right? And they had OPI nail polish for like a quarter of the price, right? So it's like, it's one of those things where I think opportunities end up coming into our life when we're actually bringing attention to our money, when we're actually bringing attention to our money relationship, right? When we're like, oh, what does luxury mean to me? What would be luxurious in my life, right? If I had all that I wanted, and what would my life be looking like? And there's actually ways for you to bring that into your life right now in very small ways, right? I also started reflecting on the non-monetary or the non-material and was like, I really want freedom of time, right? That was one of the big reasons why I started my business. I did want more financial freedom, but there was a huge aspect of like wanting freedom of time, right? I want to be able to travel. I want to still be able to work while I'm traveling. I don't want it to be like, oh, you get this vacation, 2 weeks out of the year and that's it. And so, deciding, for instance, in the middle of the day to go for a walk, right, around the park near my building was like a luxury. And I decided to frame it that way, right, of being like, oh, I am doing something luxurious for me, because like in those moments, it was very much thinking like, oh, I don't need to be asking anyone for this. I could take as long of a walk as I wanted. It could be an hour, it could be 2 hours, it could be 15 minutes. But it was completely outside of what my life used to be when I was working in a corporate 9-to-5 job, right? And so I think that there's a lot of room for us to play and flirt with like, what does luxury mean to us and what is that like? And so I really want to invite you into that. And this can look, right? And this is not to say that we want to go outside our financial plan and like create a financial burden for ourselves. That's not at all what I am recommending, right? What I am recommending is for you to reflect on what things would be different in your life, what feels luxurious to you, and what are those examples in the world, right? Either like material world or like as a mindset or time, experiences, right? And this also comes back to then also allowing it all to count, right? So another fun, like really fun thing that happens, right? On top of us, on top of us always putting things outside of ourselves and saying they have to happen later, because if we can't have it all right now, then it doesn't, like, we just shouldn't have it, right? This goes back to the whole massage example, but like the same thing can happen when we are thinking through being able to like experience luxury right now and being able to actually think about like, oh, like what is what is in alignment for me? What is luxury for me? And like that being enough, right? So the whole thing is we automatically start to judge ourselves that like what we define as luxurious is not luxurious enough, right? So I really want to invite you into, you're allowed to stand for your luxury. You're allowed to like claim what is luxurious to you. Your luxury is going to look different from my luxury or the person next to us and their luxury, right? But your luxury is your luxury. It's just like your money is your money. You get to decide what to do with it, right? So like if luxury to you is the all-inclusive resort, if luxury to you is the, G-Wagon, if luxury to you is like having like a happy home, those things count, right? And it's about not comparing ourselves to everyone else, but comparing ourselves to our previous iterations, right? Our former evolutions. So I always am talking about how we're continually evolving beings, and like our mindset is evolving, our money relationship is evolving, and like slowly we're becoming like a higher and higher version of ourselves, right? Other people see this as a deeper version of themselves, like a deepening of themselves. Other people see it as like a tuning of a frequency, right? Like that they are tuning to themselves, their most authentic selves. All of it is like speaking to the same thing. For me, in the language I use, I am continuously evolving. And so like in comparison to my previous evolutions, right? Like, have I progressed? Have I created a new financial reality for myself? Have I, created a new mental reality for myself in relation to money, in relation to success, in relation to running a business? Yes, I have. Therefore, I have continued to progress, right? And that's what's most important to me. And so I really want to encourage you to do the same when it comes to your luxury, right? Of like really thinking through, like, what are the things that are your luxury? You can definitely take inspiration from other folks and like think through like, what feels good. But by all means, you don't have to have your luxury look like everyone else. You don't need to fit in with everyone else. This is your luxury. This is your money. You get to decide what to do with it. And so definitely think of like, what feels luxurious to you? Is it a financial safety net, right? Because it doesn't have to necessarily be material goods. It could be having assets, right? Whether that be in the stock market, whether that be in real estate, whether that be in jewelry and gold and like things like that, right? It's about like what assets are really beneficial to you and what gets you excited and lit up and makes you feel like you have this ability to be flirting with luxury now. So instead of comparing your luxury to everyone else's, give yourself permission, show yourself unconditional love and compassion, a key pillar of the feminine finance method, and be like, oh no, like this is my luxury and this is how I want to flirt with it, right? And then lean into, what are the ways your life would be different right now if you were giving yourself permission to experience luxury, right? Because luxury is one of those things that we constantly put outside of ourselves in our current situation. It's something we're allowed to have in the future, but not right now. And I want to invite you into, how can you start to experience luxury right now and start to drop into experiencing luxury right now? Because that's like one of the most delicious things one can possibly do in building a beautiful, like intimate and devotional relationship with our money, is this energy around flirting with luxury now and giving yourself permission to do so. So that's really what I wanted to share this week. I think that there are tons of ways that you can lean into flirting with luxury. And so like, if you're wondering like, what are the ways that like I can flirt with luxury in my current situation, let me know, right? Because like I have gone all the way from like having zero income to, over 10K months in my business. And continuing to grow. And I've figured out how to have luxury at all of those levels, right? And it's about making it all count along the way, right? So when I, didn't have money really coming in, I still needed to buy groceries. I still, needed to, I still gave myself permission to spend, right? And one of those like luxurious spends that I did was an OPI nail polish from TJ Maxx. It was like $350. And I was like, I'm allowed to spend this. Did I reuse that nail polish like every single week and I redid my toes? Absolutely. But on top of that, did I like soak my feet and like add bubbles and like dried rose petals and stuff that I had saved from like former bouquets? 100%, because it felt luxurious, right? Did I decide to buy like chocolate croissants from Trader Joe's that were like self-rising and tasted just as good as cafe ones? And like I'd buy a box of those each like week with my grocery run. 100%. When I started making money, did I then buy 2 boxes so I could have a croissant every day because there was like 4 in a box? 100%. So like, I think there's ways that like we get to stack our luxury on top of each other. And then like, did I stop buying croissants because I was like a little croissanted out? Absolutely. But like, I think that there's room, right, for us to think through what is pleasurable and what is luxurious to us, and we can grow upon that, right? There were other times where I decided to, upgrade to first class on some of my flights when I started making more money, and like on short leg flights, and like getting to experience that and see what that's like. And it's really about making it all count along the way, right? Because like as you're working towards a result, like as you're working towards a goal, how you work towards it is how you will experience the end result. So if you are pushing yourself, if you're choosing deprivation, if you are completely ignoring your finances and having no idea where the money is going, when you get to the end result of those 5K months, those 10K months, those 20K months, I can probably guarantee you're still going to have no idea where the money is going. And you're going to be like, I just don't get why this keeps happening. And it's like, because the way that you're getting to the end result is how you experience it. So it's so important to start establishing like a devotional, intimate relationship with our money now, because as we progress towards our end result, we really need to think about like, oh, like, what is this relationship I have with my money, right? Because we want that intimacy. We want our money to show up for us the way that like we want our money to show up for us, right? And so to do so, we need to show up for our money, right? You need to show up for your money the way that you want it to show up for you, right? You want it to be consistent. You want it to take care of you. You want it to provide for you. So therefore, you need to do the same for your money, right? And so deciding to lean into what your luxury looks like and flirting with it is such a beautiful way of doing this. And it's a really fun way, right? Because you start to see, oh, there's all these little ways that I can start experiencing luxury now and actually start living in that vibrational frequency of luxury and bringing it closer and closer to myself, because I'm saying I'm allowed to have it now. Therefore, I'm allowed to have even more of it in the future, right? So that's what I wanted to share with you this week. Let me know how this all lands for you. Let me know if you're deciding to flirt with luxury. Let me know what is your luxury, right? Like, what is it that you want to flirt with? Is it travel? Is it time? Is it monetary? Is it investment? Like, right? What is the luxury? What is your flavor of luxury? What is the luxury you're going to flirt with? I can't wait to hear about it in the comments. And with that, I will see you next week for our next money chat. Bye.